Okay, so this is skills practice, construct functions. As you can see up here, I've already written out the slope-intercept form equation that we will be using. You're always using it for functions and linear relationships. I have identified what each letter stands for, so remember Y will be the total cost, M will be the cost per whatever you're dealing with, like per hour type cost, or per part, or whatever it is. And then X is going to stand for how many of those, so how many hours are worked or whatever the case may be. And then plus B, which is the initial value. That is the one-time value, the one-time charge, the one-time fee for something. That goes there. It is not dependent on anything else. So once again, my numbers have changed here. It's the same type of problem, but the numbers are a little bit different. So make sure you're doing your work based off of your problems. So mine says the photographer charges $10 for an 8x10 photo plus a sitting fee. Luann spent $35 on two 8x10 photographs and the sitting fee. Assume the relationship is linear. Find and interpret the rate of change and the initial value. So we already know that one painting is $10. So we know each painting is going to be $10, which will be our rate of change in our problem. But let's write out the equation first. So what we don't know here is it never tells us what the sitting fee is. It tells us how much she spent in total and how many paintings she bought, but it never gives you the actual sitting fee, which the sitting fee is going to be that one-time cost, so it's going to be B right here. We need to figure that part out. So when we go to write the equation, we will have Y, which is the total cost. We do know the total cost. It gives it to us. It says that she spent $35. So we could put 35 there. 35 equals. Now, do we know the cost per item? Yes. Each painting is $10. So we can put equals 10. Do we know how many paintings she bought? How many of them? Yes, we do. That is the two paintings. So I'm going to put times 2 plus the sitting fee. Do we know the sitting fee? No. We still don't know the sitting fee, so we're just going to put plus B here for that initial value, the sitting fee that we are trying to find. Now, if we solve for B, we can get the initial value. So let's just solve here. 10 times 2 would be 20 plus B equals 35. We're just bringing that down. Remember, what you do to one side, you have to do to the other. We're trying to move this positive 20, so we're going to subtract 20. So we have 15, and we know the sitting fee is $15. So I can say the rate of change, so the rate of change here is $10, and that stands for the price per painting. So I'm going to put per painting. And I know the sitting fee is a one-time fee of $15. You can really write that however you want, but that is interpreting the rate of change, which is the price per whatever you're dealing with, so per painting in this case, and the sitting fee that we found by doing the math over here. So that is number 1. Number 2 says to perform car maintenance, a mechanic charges for parts and $40 an hour for labor. So we know that's going to be $40 an hour for labor. The total cost that Terry spent for 2 hours of car maintenance is $110. Assume the relationship is linear. Find and interpret the rate of change and the initial value. So once again, they give us something that we know, and they give us something that we don't know that we do need to solve for. Once again, we're solving for the B here because we do not know how much the parts were. And the parts are a one-time fee because you're just paying for the parts. Then it depends on how many hours it actually takes them to do the maintenance. So we have our our total cost again. So we have 110 equals, we also know that each hour, I was going to write up here, each hour, so 1 hour is $40. Just like I wrote one painting is $10, I'm going to write 1 hour is $40. We know that. So for $110, we know that we have to put 40 here because it's 40 times the number of hours, because that's how many. So the number of hours is 2 plus the parts. So this stands for the parts, price of parts. And that's what we do not know. So we're going to bring down the 110 equals, well, 40 times 2 is 80 plus B. Same thing we did above up here. In order to get B by itself, we need to do the inverse operation. Since this is a positive 80, we're going to subtract 80. These cancel out. We're left with 30 equals B. So we know that the parts were $30. And we already know that per hour, so that our rate of change is $40. So I'm going to identify those. So rate of change is $40 per hour. And the initial value for the parts is $30. All right, there you go. Hope that helped you out.